We've got you covered all season long. Welcome to the BCSN Nation podcast, powered by Buffalo Wild Wings.
All right, here it is, Season 4, Episode 4 of the BCSN Nation podcast, powered by Buffalo Wild Wings.
Let's go, sports bar.
There it is.
Brandon Carnes here with Justin Feldkamp and Mason Lowry. We are on to Week 4 now of the football season. And I want to know, as we're through 3 weeks, if you guys have an early season MVP pick, a Blade all-player. Justin, you go ahead and go first.
Ooh, all right. How about Perrysburg quarterback Brady Maxwell Jr. is 41 of 59 passing. That's 69%, 450 yards, 5 touchdown passes, and he's doing it with his legs. 34 carries for 245 yards, 7 more cashed-in scores there. So he's filling up the stat box. And yes, they are 2-1. One of those losses came to Olentangy, but they've looked good against Fremont Ross, looked spectacular against BG in Week 1.
Doing nice.
Excellent choice. I'm going to go a little bit further afield and go with Landon Rich, who is the starting tailback down at Woodmore. This is a school that
I did see these
for
stat
much
lines.
of its history has kind of struggled in football, the last 20, 30 years especially. But I love how in football, everything that's old is new again. I formation, ground and pound. Love it. He had 18 touchdowns all of last year. He's got 11 so far through 3 games. He is playing some really, really good football. And I want to go ahead and give a shout-out to a whole group if I can.
Go for it.
Now, can't be up for Player of the Year because it's 11 dudes plus 4 or 5 more. How about the Clay defense?
Hey, they've been balling the
0
last
against
couple weeks.
Southview.
And 3 last week against Bowling Green. They play like the really good Central Catholic defenses in that they run out of a 3-4. They blitz in a ton of different ways. They swarm to the football. They're constantly in the backfield. They are a menace, and I love watching them.
I think they gave up 28 in Week 1 to Wapakoneta, and Wapakoneta
ranked number 2.
Yeah, looking at some of those top
There you
rankings with Max Preps or the media polls. Yeah, so the good call.
Mason went off script last week and took us to football.
True.
So I'm taking out of the high school plays. I'm going up to UT football. I'm going Emmanuel McNeil Warren is my early season MVP pick for the Rockets.
Pick
he
6.
is out of his mind so far this season. Of all players in college football with at least 70 snaps on defense, he has the 4th highest PFF grade in the country, 13 tackles. He's got a sack. He's got a pick 6. He's got a fumble forced, which is 10 in his career at UT, and he's got 2 fumble recoveries. I'm telling you right now, Emmanuel McNeil Warren is at worst a day 2 pick in the NFL draft next
You
spring.
will do better in Toledo and at Toledo.
Hey, they do all right in that secondary over there for the Rockets. We've got plenty more coming up for you today on the show. We've got the return of Agree to Disagree. We've got the Done Player of the Week, of course, our Done Game of the Week, Renewal by Anderson Clip of the Week. If it's sponsored, we got it. That's a guarantee every single week. There you go. There's a little tidbit into what we do. And make sure you're here every single week for a brand new episode every 4 p.m. on BCSN or anywhere you get your audio mediums or bcsnnation.com/podcast. And from Wednesday to Wednesday, follow at BCSN Sports. Actually, just keep it. Don't unhit it every Wednesday. That wouldn't make any sense. Keep the following button over there at BCSN Sports across all social medias. And appreciate you getting us to 10,000 followers over on TikTok. Shout out to you guys all following for that. Hooray. Confetti. All right, we're getting into it. Agree to Disagree has returned, our little debate to get the show rolling. And this week, it's only one topic because we're talking about the big schools, the big conference in the NLL Buckeye. I'm telling you right now, I think we're headed toward another 3-way tie atop the NLL Buckeye. It wasn't one last year, but in year 1, right, we had all 3 teams, Whitmer, Perrysburg, Anthony Wayne. Division 1 rankings came out, Whitmer number 18, Division 1, Perrysburg number 19. Anthony Wayne, not there yet, but I think by the end of the season, we're going to have some crucial matchups that come down.
Yeah, I think the top 2 out of those 3 right now, I would have to go through Whitmer and Perrysburg because of just the results. Hey, we're in a results-oriented business. You hear coaches say you are what your record says you are. Just ask Coach Dempsey about that at Central Catholic. But I think that's a possibility. Yes, those 2 up top, but I think it's a possibility. We have a 3-way tie. Anthony Wayne won it outright last year, an undefeated regular season. We did have that 3-way tie in the first iteration of the new look NLL a couple seasons ago. But I think if you look at the best group from each of those teams, I'll say the best group of running backs is at Whitmer.
Yeah.
Best offensive line is at Perrysburg. Best group of tight ends is at Anthony Wayne. So I think all of them have their strengths and their weaknesses. I think Brady Maxwell is the most versatile quarterback right now.
Sure.
I think that Anthony Wayne with Porter Brungard will eventually have the most versatile quarterback, whether that happens late stages of this year or maybe
into the
next
future.
year.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be nice with both of those quarterbacks not being seniors right now at Perrysburg
All
and
three of
Anthony
them.
Wayne. Yeah, that's right. Quader Bourne, who was injured last week. But yeah, that's what we talked about. Week 1, the massive departure of veteran 2 and 3 year starters at a bunch of area schools in our Toledo, Northwest Ohio, and Southeast Michigan area. You're getting reinvigorated with some younger quarterbacks who have earned the starting roles as sophomores or juniors right now. But I would say, I guess week 3, you're asking us this question. What is this, like first things first? We need an MVP in the NFL in week 1. But
hey,
I will
just
say,
setting the bar. I'm giving myself a bulletin board thing to come back on in 7
So
weeks. And be
fight
like,
us all back
yes,
and keep receipts.
egg on your
Carnes.
face.
Keep receipts. All right.
This whole thing's recorded. Did you know that?
I'll say yes.
Oh,
we
I
get a
love it.
3-way tie.
Now, do you agree or disagree, Mr. Lowry?
As it stands right now, it's hard to say because it's all going to be about growth in the next
I agree.
4 or 5 weeks. Right now, I agree completely with Justin. Perrysburg and Whitmer are ahead of Anthony Wayne because Anthony Wayne's offense has struggled.
Yeah,
Two-
7-0 last week with
Yeah,
Napoleon.
which that kind of threw me.
I was stunned to say the least when I saw that score come
Caveat
across.
to that, 17 penalties. Anthony Wayne had 17
Holy smokes.
penalties.
That's
maybe
not-
some
that's not
of
a
them
point in
against-
their favor.
Correct.
That did
but I'm
not show
saying
up in the score graphic.
There were
Yeah,
three I was told, Coach Brungard told me, 3 holding calls on back-to-back plays, one of which brought back a touchdown. But still, your point is well understood.
And obviously they can grow, and they can grow quickly. We
Yeah.
haven't really seen that yet. And who knows, the one game in which they put up numbers offensively was St. John's. And who knows? I mean, it's hard to tell what St. John's defense is like after 3 weeks.
Yeah.
The other thing I'll say is I don't think you can discount Finley or Clay right now either. Finley, and we'll get into this more later, running the football exceptionally well, which is a new thing for a Stephen Adams offense. Yeah. And I talked to Coach Pennington briefly after they walloped Bowling Green last week, and he said, we've been waiting for the offense to start to click.
Alive, yeah.
And I think now, granted, Bowling Green is a team that replaced so much from last year, and it's like a new pair of shoes. Everything's pinching a lot right now.
Yeah, you got to wear them in a little bit.
Yeah, so they might be a darn good team by the end of the year. Right now, it's a struggle and they're learning. But he felt like that offense started to figure some things out. And if the offense can match the defense's intensity, 3 points given up in 2 weeks, that's not chump change.
That'll do.
Then Clay, if not a team that could win a share of the league, they can have a say in who wins the league because they can pick somebody off. Finley, same thing.
All right, 5-way tie. You've convinced me. A 5-way tie atop the NLL Buckeye.
How about like everybody's 3-2 or something?
Everybody's 3-2. We'll do a coin toss at the end of the season, best of 5 on a coin. I don't know how that's going to work out. We'll see. I don't think it's going to be a 5-way tie. Don't worry. But now we got to go to somebody. Huge game on Friday in a huge result that we'll talk about afterwards. We're going to our Player of the Week, brought to you by Done Shabby. Hit it, Cisco. Taking you to Sylvania. Rashaun Coley Jr., 21 carries, toting it like a bell cow, 105 yards, a pair of touchdowns, and a forced fumble on the defensive side of things. He was a lot of fun to go talk to on Monday. Northview getting a big win over Start, and he talked to me about the same thing that I talked to Coach Barry Bach about, is we had to come in and earn our respect. That was it. He said the biggest thing we talked about all week was earn the respect. Nobody looks at us as anything other than the team that hasn't won since September of 2023. He went in there, and they played a great beginning of a game, and then they had a scare at the end, but Rashaun Coley played out of his mind. And when you need a spark and you got a guy like that in the backfield, it's huge.
Yeah, you had a couple scares in that game where they, a 2-point conversion could put them behind the 8 ball, and then they, onside kick goes off the shin of one of the hands team's guys on that front row, and they get another chance. But hey, you end a 15-game skid, and that's what they did. And credit to Northview, taking a job in which the team went 0-10 the year before and scored a total, I think, of 13 points last year,
till like
and
week
one
7.
of those was a defensive touchdown.
Yep.
I mean, that's a tough mountain to climb, and no matter who you get the win against a solid Start team that's going to contend in the City League, it could be a wake-up call for the Spartans of Start, but also an invigorating win for Northview.
I saw Mason shake his head about the 21 carries. You don't see that a whole lot in a high school ball with that guy Rashaun Coley.
And certainly not at the bigger schools. Like
Yeah.
𝗦𝗽liche, who I mentioned earlier at Woodmore, he kind of has to.
Yeah.
And there are programs where that is the DNA and guys have to do everything all at once. I love the fact that he not only got 21 carries offensively, but forced a fumble defensively. Yeah. The fact that he is going
two-way,
all out on both sides of the ball. So many of the larger programs in terms of numbers have the luxury of two platooning.
Yeah.
He's going both ways. I doubt he's off the field very much. I love seeing that, and we'll get into it in a bit.
Yep.
I know, but I'm so happy for these guys.
All right, before we start giving away the milk, we got to pay for the cow. We'll be right back for 30 seconds from Buffalo Wild Wings. Hit it, Cisco.
Buffalo Wild Wings buy one, get one free boneless Thursdays saved me so much cash. I can finally do everything I've ever wanted in life, like skydiving. You ready? No, this was a mistake, a huge mistake. I want to go back. I want to go back. Go! Yeah, I'll probably just use the money I saved to get more buy one, get one free boneless wings at B-Dubs. No brainer. Buffalo Wild Wings. Let's go sports bar.
At participating locations, not valid with other offers or discounts. See website or app for details.
Plenty still to talk about on that streak-snapping win for Northview over Start, 31-30. I talked to Coach Bach about it, and he just said he had pride in the hot start in the first quarter and very much so in the resilience when Start made that comeback in the fourth quarter. He said a team/program win in all phases and hoping they can carry that into this week against BG. But, man, like Mason said, you feel so good for those kids to get that monkey off your back and say, now we can just string this together and don't worry about, is the streak going to continue? Are we going to get our first win? You got it. Go play football.
And I got so much respect for Coach Bach for wanting to go into that job. I mean, those players in that locker room last year went into every week knowing in their heart of hearts, we aren't competitive. And this is going to be a long night, and we're probably going to get knocked around. It's like Sisyphus called. He needs a rock pushed up a hill for all eternity. There's my Dennis Miller moment for the week. But to turn it around and not only have them be more competitive this year, but to win a game in week 3 is awesome. I'm so happy for them. What it's going to do, it maybe won't lead to another win this year. It might this week. They'll have a chance to beat Bowling Green, I think. But what it will do is just put belief, hey, we can compete here. We can compete for a quarter, for a half, maybe a little bit longer than that. And I don't know if that belief was there last year or possibly the year prior, but I'm just totally delighted for those guys. They've earned it, and with what they've been through the last couple of years, they deserve it for sure.
It's a building block. At the very least, it's somewhere to look towards to go forward.
Yeah, 100%. I put this on our list of honors, BCSN honors game of the week or game of the year nominees.
Absolutely.
Just from both sides. You got drama, excitement, execution on both sides, some inexecution on both sides. So it made for just a compelling, in some ways, surprising outcome. So hats off to them. Both coaches put everything into it, and Barry Bach and Nate James. But echoing your point there in regards to the sense of, one, relief, two, invigoration. At the youth sports level, I've coached some teams where you're just not getting the wins, and you see the mood of those players, and you just want them so badly to taste success because it gives you a little bit of oomph, and it gives you a little bit of, okay, I know we can do it because it's a result. You see the score. Even at the youth level, kids are keeping score. They know. And when you have that result that goes in your favor after so many before had not, it adds a little bit of extra dynamic to your program, to your team, to your coaching staff, to your student body, to your community at large. And you can't tell me that they don't want to play out each and every time, but when you don't have it, when you know that it's difficult to be competitive, let alone get a win, you know, any type of valuable victories you can get, whether it's by 1 point like this one was, or by more, you're going to take it.
It can help numbers, too, within the program. When you lose for a long time, kids
go
don't
play?
want to come out. Not only will it help with numbers, but I'm told Northview has a freshman class they really like. They're keeping them together at freshman and JV levels. It could keep really talented freshmen at the school. We can win, and we can thrive in this building. We don't have to go anywhere else. That can be huge.
Couple quick shout-outs for start. Boy, Marvon Thompson is fun to watch play football. He is lightning in a bottle. Mike Robb, I know, loves this guy, says he could play as a number one receiver in almost any school in the area. He is a blast to watch. Jonah Tall, Tyrese Highsmith, Daniel Easter, all had great games. I talked to Northview assistant coach Nick Jambreska. And it was one of the things I thought about this game was for Northview, the hardest thing about watching Start come back is these guys don't know how to win, right? They've never done it, so they don't know how to hold off a team, make those stops. They did it. He was really worried about it because he was at Maumee when Maumee gave up that Hail Mary touchdown a couple seasons ago to lose at the end of a game. He was excited for the kids. Shout out to Northview getting that first win. And now it is time for our clip of the week, brought to you by Renewal by Anderson. Cisco, you know what to do. We're going to the Glass Bowl, and it's not Emmanuel McNeil Warren. Here we go. Keyshawn Richardson, the freshman. All right, who's going to get the punt? Okay, it's Keyshawn. All right, the Jets. Down the sideline, breaks a couple tackles. I love this little, give him a dead leg. Yep, bye. See you later. I'm going to tell you, there was a flag on this play. Don't worry, it was just on the somersault. The touchdown stayed. Listen, he's a kid. He's a freshman. He's excited. Yeah. How do you not be after making this play, getting your guys fired up? What a fun matchup this was. What a great play for freshman Keyshawn Richardson.
Yeah, Turf Monster almost got him there about the 20-yard line, but
those legs get a little tired.
I love the green daylight ahead. So hats off to him. I mean, 85 yards the other way. Somersault, having some fun. I don't know if you're the coaching staff, if you like that or not. You're taking, a 15-yard penalty on the subsequent kickoff, but what are you going to do? This was a captivating moment. Gives you a 7-point lead in the second quarter against the team that was in a state championship game that just lost by 1 point last year. So this was a key victory for St. Francis. Got to defend your home turf, and they did.
I think he almost tripped over his blocker there. I think that might have been what it was.
Well, his feet were just too darn quick.
Listen, smoke coming off those cleats.
Can we get a he's a freshman button on that thing?
Yeah, I mean, the student section, he's a freshman.
I got some free, but there's 4 down here that don't have anything on them. So future reference, if you hear that, it's a Mason call.
That is an extremely impressive return. I love the footwork. I love everything about it.
Blocking.
He doesn't even need that much blocking, but it's a testament to what he did get that nobody held, and it didn't come back. How often do you see great punt or kick returns brought back for a hold? It's also a veteran thing to not try and reverse field. He kind of sees where he's going, where he wants to go.
Commit to the bit.
And, he just commits to it. He's not trying to go back.
2.
He's not trying to zigzag his way
3.
around. That's when holds happen. It's an excellent return. 4.
4 dudes tried him. Yeah, you're right. He didn't really have that many blocks. He had 4 dudes who could have blocked.
He had a cavalry with him.
He didn't really need them.
Block there.
He was just eluding everybody by himself.
It's economy of motion on those blockers. I don't have to do anything here. He's got this. The freshman's got it.
You believe in your guy. I think the biggest thing on a partner like this is the initial blocks, right? Once you get in the open field, I mean, you see the speed. The feet are moving. Keyshawn Richardson, shout out to him. Our clip of the week brought to you by Renewal by Anderson. Head over to our TikTok at BCSN Sports. You want to see more of that thing. I think it's got over 16,000 views already. Keep it rolling. And it's time for our student section of the week brought to you by Unison Health and the Mental Health Board of Lucas County. We're going north of the border. Bedford is the student section of the week. A big matchup coming up this week. They're going to get the belt. We'll have Nicole come deliver it. You see the students at the toga party going on. The pictures Justin sent me to put on this graphic, I couldn't even pick one. They were all awesome. So good. We talked about Bedford last week, I think either on the podcast or on Game Day Nation. They always come out, show out. Coach John Phillips and company got a big one this week. Make sure you pack the stands, get the battle for the belt. Unison Health reminds you it is your time, your choice, and we'll keep it rolling into a big matchup for Toledo Christian. If you didn't know, they returned to 11-man football this season. They take on Richmond Heights this Friday. Something's got to give. A pair of 0-3 teams coming into the week, teams that are struggling. And Coach Skeels talked about it before the season. It's a massive adjustment, right? Not just from more guys on the field, but there's a lot more field to play on, to cover, to run on. And they've had their struggles the first few weeks, but this is the week if you're going to get it, right?
Yeah, they've been competitive, I would say, in the context of going from 8-man to 11-man.
It's a huge task.
They got 29 on their roster. I looked, 8 of them are freshmen. I mean, just let that sink in. 29 on the roster, 8 of them are freshmen. So the reps that they're gaining right now, normally you wouldn't be getting those types of reps as a young player in a high school program. They lost Carter Kester, who was all-world in all the sports that he played at TC, one of the all-time greats for the Eagles. We got Jason Griffin and Craig Lubinsky on the call for us on this one on Friday night. And I'm curious to see, because like you said, this is kind of like Northview against Start. A winnable game, seize the opportunity. It's right there. And the same things that we talked about Northview and how it could compel them and invigorate them.
You feel that payoff.
Exact same situation, I think, for TC against a Richmond Heights team. I think defensively, Evan Ryan has done a great job for TC. And then offensively, you got Josh Hillrich. He's a new quarterback who's a sophomore. So he had to wait his time behind a senior quarterback, Tyler Grace. And then you got his brother, Josh's brother, Josiah, senior wide receiver. So they hooked up for a touchdown against Macomb earlier this season. And then offensive lineman Connor Egbert up front can create some holes. But TC's got to generate some type of offense. And so many of these programs that we've talked about the first 4 weeks of this season, they're trying to figure out the puzzle pieces and figure out the personnel and figure out, who can do this. I was talking to Stephen Adams, Finley's coach, and he was saying, all right, well, you've been a linebacker for us, maybe coming up the ranks, freshman in JV, but you know what? You might be a better running back for us as compared to the rest of our roster. So maybe you now move to running back, and then we fill back in with someone else as a linebacker, and as a result, the quality of our roster and quality of our personnel on the field goes up. TC's figuring that out.
Yeah, and I agree that this is maybe their best chance to win this year. Corey Rawson, they'll play in Week 10, and they've really struggled so far this year too. But you look at Richmond Heights, they only played 6 games last year. They were 1-5. They don't have a home game this year. They're not so much farther along in their development than Toledo Christian is. Now, obviously, they've played 11-man in the past, and TC is getting back there, but it might end up being as even as it gets in terms of just general experience. I feel for TC because now their student body is just big enough they can't do the 8-man thing anymore. Just in time to lose Carter Kester, among others. I feel for him. It's kind of like Clay getting that promotion to the Buckeye and losing all those great players. I feel like the toughest adjustment for them maybe is line play because obviously there's more
5
now.
offensive linemen instead of 3.
Yeah, the skill guys can adjust to the width and everything, but for the line, you've got maybe a couple of guys that have kind of been there, done that at 8-man, and then you're filling in everywhere else. One area in which I think Toledo Christian cannot be beaten, they have to have the most Josiahs per capita.
I was thinking that earlier.
I think they've got 4.
And brothers. I think,
the
that was a
JPC
story we had
rate is
last
crazy.
year. It is unreal.
The JPC rate over at TC. We'll see if that translates to wins. If you're going to do it, listen, Richmond Heights is allowing 31 points a game, and they're only scoring 9. This is your chance to get things rolling. We're looking forward to that for Coach Skeels and company. But now it is time for our Game of the Week, brought to you by Dunn Chevy in Oregon. Cisco, hit it. An NLL cross-divisional matchup. It's pair 2-1 Findlay and 1-2 Southview. We talked about these teams a little bit already coming into this one. Findlay, a team that seems to have figured things out, gotten the ball rolling, and on defense, they've only given up 14 points the last 2 weeks. Southview, on the other hand, we saw them come out a huge first win against Northview, and they have been blanked in 2 weeks in a row. A tough task for them now trying to right the ship, taking on a Findlay team that seems to be finding their stride with Coach Stephen Adams.
Yeah, game day tailgate is going to be there. We've been to Southview before. Looking forward to going back for this one between the Trojans and the Cougars. Cool thing about this, there's going to be flyovers at 7 different schools in Northwest Ohio this Friday. So from 6, talk about how fast these 180th fighter jets are. 6:40 to 6:55, so 15 minutes. They're going to go to 7 different schools: Swanton, Springfield, Clay, Northview, Southview, Maumee, and Anthony Wayne.
That's
so
awesome.
It's going to be pretty
tight
sweet.
Turn from Northview to Southview. Whip it right.
It is going to be sweet. I tell you what, there's some cool flyovers. Who doesn't love a good flyover? And then to have the 180th right in our backyard, it's just going to be cool for all of those different communities. I mean, 7 schools times their opponents as well, so that's 14 groups of communities that are going to be able to see those flyovers. So anyway, we'll have that video during our game day tailgate. But with Stephen Adams, I was talking to these guys earlier this week. The elephant in the room entering this season was Landon Echoberry, a star freshman quarterback who filled in for the injured Ryan Montgomery, who's now down playing for the Georgia Bulldogs. Echoberry played extremely well as a freshman, decided to transfer, relocate. His family goes up to Oregon. He's now playing and starting for Clay. That is over and done with. They had the meeting. They had, okay, who's here is who we got. That's all we need. So Findlay, after, we're entering a month's worth of games now. So that is over and done with. That storyline can be put to bed. But with what they got now, they have 2 quarterbacks, both of them sophomores, Bishop Pfister, Tate Richards. Richards more of the pocket passer, Pfister more of a runner. But I think both of them have
faster. Got it.
Exactly. Both of them have started games this season. Coach Adams, as of right now, is okay with playing both of them based on their needs within a given time frame and what the game looks like in those given scenarios throughout 4 quarters. He likes how they're close-knit. The team chemistry is working. They're 2-1. Their defense has played great. They've given up just 7 points in the last 2 weeks to Lima Senior and Springfield. And we've seen Springfield has some explosive big plays this season. They did not have those against Findlay last week. So we saw Sean Hines, special teams. Mason, I can't remember. I don't know how many of the games that you've called for us on our games of the week have involved special teams playing a large factor in the outcomes. But just across the board, I know in some of the highlights that we've had on Game Day Nation, Overtime, and Football Friday, Sean Hines was punt returning, scored a touchdown for Findlay last week. So they got that in their favor. I really like Will Hammer, a solid defensive back for Findlay. So that's on the Findlay side of the ball, in which they're going to be being able to bring a lot to the table that Southview is going to have a challenge with.
And, just regarding Findlay and what was lost from last year, everybody talks Eckleberry this, Eckleberry that. For me, Jacob Ragland is the player they missed the most because he was that known quantity that could stretch the field.
Explosive.
He was a stinking cheat code, man. I loved watching Jacob Ragland. So I love the way they've reinvented themselves. You know, necessity is the mother of invention.
Come punch you in the mouth a little bit.
Yeah, it's like, let's just ram it down your throat. And they're using a bunch of different guys to run the football, and it's working for them. And hats off to Coach Adams and company for identifying that. I feel for Southview because Southview has gotten banged up by physically bigger teams the last 2 weeks.
Tough stretch of the schedule.
They're without a number of guys right now. Jackson Augustiniak, their middle linebacker, he's out. It's the second year in a row that their senior linchpin middle linebacker has been out after 2 games. They lost Drew Young last year during the weight game in similar circumstances, and that's a real drag. And, guys that would step up and replace them, like their best JV kids, are out for the year with broken legs and broken collarbones, et cetera. So it's just kind of been one thing after another. The key for me, for Southview, is I'm going to say this again. Necessity is the mother of invention.
Sure.
How many different ways can they get Mo MacArthur the football?
100%.
Because that is a guy that can stand up to anybody. You maybe use him out in the slot. You use him in the screen game, like long handoffs.
Around.
You have him try and be a vertical threat because they're without another one of their wide receivers this week. So you got to kind of plug holes and hope something works. Mo MacArthur, to me, is the thing that can work for them.
It's an O-line up front. They have a bunch of young guys on Southview's roster up front, and they got to give them time. It's one thing to say, get the ball to Mo MacArthur. It's another to give them time to get the ball to Mo MacArthur and Adam LaPlace, their star wide receiver. But Jackson Hesse got banged up a little bit against 𝗦𝗻𝗁. He's back. I saw him practicing on the field, so he should be okay. But, yeah, the gauntlet that they face, and an interesting thing that Coach Steve Hardy has done is he brought back some former all-time greats for Southview to talk about the mental aspect of this tough gauntlet because Coach Hardy realizes you kind of look at your schedule, how do you navigate it, and he knows you got to go through a bunch of top Division I bigger programs with bigger rosters, but you got to be able to get through it, and hopefully Southview can as they focus on the Cardinal after these big games.
All right, we want to know who you think is going to pick this one up. Head over to our X page. Vote in our Game of the Week poll that ends Thursday or tomorrow if you're listening live at noon. We'll be right back to wrap this thing up after 30 seconds for Buffalo Wild Wings. Hit it, Cisco, one more time.
I've saved so much money enjoying Buffalo Wild Wings BOGO half-off traditional Wing Tuesdays. I can finally afford everything I've ever wanted in life. Wings. All I ever wanted was more wings. So yeah, buy one, get one half off traditional wings is the perfect deal for me and my lifetime yearnings. I value it more than literally anything. Buffalo Wild Wings. Let's go sports bar.
At participating locations, not valid with other offers or discounts. See website or app for details.
Trust the games list, Touch. Bring it up. Midas games list. We've got Game Day Nation, Game Day Tailgate, of course. Findlay and South. We talked about a good one. Clyde and St. Francis. Napoleon and Clay, another fun one. Richmond Heights, TC. Norwalk, Bellevue over in Erie action. And the Hens are at home on the NLL Network taking on the Louisville Bats after a tough one Tuesday night. Gentlemen, anything up there that piques your interest?
Quick one, Napoleon at Clay. I think
that
Napoleon played well against Anthony Wayne. Clay played well against BG. Both of them coming off solid performances. Yes, not a win for Napoleon, but that's going to be an interesting game. That was a Cardinal Division game last year. Not anymore.
Monday night, Anthony Wayne, Perrysburg girls soccer. Perrysburg ranked number 1 in D1. Anthony Wayne number 1 in D2. Can't wait.
The return of Thursday night City League football. Don't forget about that. Scott and Start going at it Thursday night. Until next Wednesday, we'll get you right back here with a brand new episode. For Justin Feldkamp at Justin Feldkamp. Follow at @BCSN. Keep following at BCSN Sports so you don't miss anything. Until next Wednesday, we'll see you Friday night in some capacity or another. See ya.